In Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso, President Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso has delivered one of the boldest speeches in recent African political history. A direct, unscripted message to foreign powers he says have long treated Africa as a playground for their own interests. Standing before journalists, cameras, and an expectant crowd in Ouagadougou, Traoré said he would speak only once and wanted his message to be heard across the continent. It came after reports surfaced of comments allegedly made by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a warning to African leaders to stay in line or face consequences. Whether the remarks were genuine or not, Traoré said the meaning was clear: Africa was being threatened. "I don't care whether Netanyahu said those words exactly," Traoré told the room. "What matters is the message. Some people still think they can scare us, control us, or treat us like their colony. That time is over." A message beyond Israel. Although the remarks were framed as a response to Israel, Traoré quickly widened his target to all nations that have, in his words, controlled, exploited, or bullied African countries. Burkina Faso does not answer to Tel Aviv. We do not answer to Washington. We do not answer to any power that thinks it can buy us or bomb us into obedience, he declared. The room fell silent, witnesses said. Then, leaning forward, the president warned, "If you come for one of us, you come for all of us. Africa is not yours to threaten." Why now? Traoré told reporters he could not remain silent because silence was what foreign powers expected. A tradition of African leaders responding privately, diplomatically, or not at all. He described decades of interference, borders drawn by outsiders, resources taken without fair return, governments influenced or overthrown, and independence movements undermined. "For too long, they've taken our gold, our oil, our diamonds," he said. "Even after our flags went up and our armies marched in independence parades, they kept meddling, using money, threats, and soldiers to keep us in line. That era is ending." From speech to movement. Within hours, footage of his speech spread across social media platforms including X, Telegram, and WhatsApp. Clips were shared in Mali, Niger, Guinea, South Africa, and beyond. Young people, farmers, and activists posted messages of support. In Mali, transitional leader Colonel Assimi Goïta reposted the video. In Guinea, Mamadi Doumbouya publicly backed Traoré. Hashtags like #AfricaWillNotBow and #WestandWithTraoré began trending in African online spaces. "It wasn't just my voice they were hearing," Traoré later said. "They were hearing their own hopes, their own anger, their own dreams." Defining sovereignty. To Traoré, sovereignty is not an abstract concept. It's the right to decide who enters our land, who takes our resources, and who we work with, he explained. It's the right to stand tall and say, "This is our home, we decide what happens here." He accused foreign powers of treating Africa like a chessboard, where soldiers, companies, and aid are moved strategically for outside benefit, not African progress. The Sahel Alliance. In his speech, Traoré promoted a new regional bloc, the Sahel Alliance, between Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. The partnership, he said, is about mutual defense, shared resources, and rejecting foreign military bases and exploitative deals. "This is not just about pushing back against threats," Traoré said. "It's about building something new, Schools that teach our history, hospitals that serve our people, economies that lift up our citizens instead of enriching outsiders. Breaking with the past. France, the former colonial power in Burkina Faso, was singled out as an example of foreign dominance the Sahel nations are working to dismantle. Traoré noted that French military forces had been expelled, echoing moves by Mali and Niger. "This moment feels different," he insisted. "For years, we were told to follow rules written elsewhere. Now, we're writing our own." Global silence, local support. Interestingly, Israel offered no public response to the speech. Western media coverage was minimal, which Traoré interpreted as deliberate. "They don't want the world to see Africa united, proud, and defiant," he said. "They prefer the old narrative, that we are weak, divided, dependent. That story is ending." Despite the lack of Western coverage, African outlets and social channels have kept the story alive. In markets, cafes, and universities, people are debating his words. Supporters call him the voice of the continent. Not seeking fame. Traoré has dismissed suggestions that he is courting personal glory. "I'm not here for fame or applause," he told local radio. "I'm here because I believe in Africa, in our strength, our history, and our future." He invoked the memory of African independence fighters and urged young people to build a continent where Africans sit at the table as equals, rather than begging for scraps. Unity and warnings. The president stressed that unity is Africa's greatest shield. He called for leaders across the continent to back the Sahel Alliance's principles, defending sovereignty, refusing to be divided, and resisting economic or military coercion. "To those who think they can still control Africa, your time is up," he said. "We are not your backyard. We are not your resource bank. If you try to threaten, bribe, or scare us, you will be surprised." The stakes. Traoré acknowledged that some consider his language too bold and too risky. "They say I'm picking a fight we can't win," he told the audience. "But staying silent is the real risk. Letting others walk over us is the real danger." He closed his address with a call to action for ordinary Africans. "Don't be afraid. Stand up in your communities. Demand your rights. Support leaders who fight for you, not for foreign interests. Together, we can build an Africa that is strong, proud, and free." A moment in history. Whether the speech marks a turning point for African politics remains to be seen. Analysts say the Sahel Alliance's future will depend on how well member states can cooperate economically and militarily, and whether they can avoid becoming isolated internationally. But for many Africans, the words themselves, blunt, unapologetic, and delivered without notes, were a statement of identity. As one student in Niamey told a local reporter, "He said what our grandparents wanted to say but could not. He said, we are not afraid anymore." And for President Traoré, that message is the heart of it all. Africa, awake and unbowed, will not return to silence.